Hi garden friends, welcome to the channel. I'm Era and this is Gardening on Purpose. I garden in Georgia, Zone 8A. It's the first week in November and it's a really nice foggy day. Look at all that fog between the trees right there. It's beautiful. It's early in the morning around 7 o'clock and I'm coming out to show you what's blooming in the garden in the first week in November. Let's get started. First up are daisies. This particular one here is the Amazing Daisies Banana Cream by Proven Winners. This plant here looks really healthy. This is its third flush, guys. Third flush. This particular one here has the light yellow colored one when it first comes out. It matures to white and then there's a new bloom coming up right there. The plant looks really healthy, and I have another one to show you. This one here is White Mountain Daisy, and just like the banana cream that I showed you from Proven Winners, this one I bought from Lowe's. This is not no name brand or anything. This was just a Lowe's, one of those Lowe's black pot, and this guy has also been doing well. I have a lot of daisies in my yard and they all do well, and I'm just happy to see that there's still blooms in the first week in November. Continuing to bloom, this guy has been blooming for quite a while, but these are the berries, the remnants behind the white blooms that they had earlier. In the fall, this Pearl Glam Beauty Berry produces these beautiful purple berries. Look at how gorgeous that is, guys. Really nice. I'm waiting for the birds to take advantage of it because they love those. And this plant has done so well. I mean, every stem is covered with berries. Guys, I'm going to lift it up. Every stem is covered in berries. Really nice. Get you some Pearl Glam Beauty Berry. If you're looking for something that takes you all the way to the fall, gives you fall interest, and yes, it will die back, but it grows really fast too. I bought this in a quart online from Proven Winners Direct. It came, I put it in the garage, I brought it out in the spring, I planted it in that 1 quart, and this is the result of that. Really nice. Next up are 3 of the Encore azaleas. This first one here is the beautiful Autumn Carnation. Autumn Carnation is a beauty, guys. It's a pink with some little, even pinker dots towards the center of the bloom, and the foliage for Autumn Carnation is one of the nicer ones. Some of them I'm going to show. Well, one of them I'm going to show you. Even though it's blooming, the actual plant itself is a little bit tattered, but for the Autumn Carnation, it keeps a beautiful foliage. Now this thing is blooming. Can you imagine in the spring? I don't know if you remembered when I showed you this in the spring, it was even more grander. But not a lot of plants bloom in the fall as their third flush and look as nice as this. This thing is not only blooming its head off, it is budded up and still ready to give me even more. Now, we have not had a frost. It has not cold. Last year this time, we would have already been in the 30s. It actually would have already been cold, but we're just really enjoying these wonderful fall temperatures here in Georgia Zone 8A. So that's Autumn Carnation. And then next to that is Autumn Embers. And like I was saying, you see how nice the carnation looked? The Autumn Embers is a reddy orange color, and yes, it's blooming, but the actual plant, the foliage is not the greatest looking, right? So that's Autumn Embers. And then also blooming is the beautiful Autumn Ivory. This one is a pure white one, and this one is actually a little bit shorter than the others. This one is a dwarfy one. I don't think it gets any more than 2.5 inches. Not inches, 2.5 feet tall. So I'm really impressed with the Encore Azalea series. I have a bunch of them in my yard, and they don't all bloom at the same time. Even though they all bloom 3 times a year, the level of blooming for each of them is different based on how happy these plants end up being. But I'm really impressed with the Autumn Carnation. I think she's going to make it, guys. You might have remembered one of my earlier videos. I was talking about this Chinese Snowball Viburnum and the fact that it was budded up and that I wasn't sure if it was actually going to bloom because I was anticipating a frost by now, but we have not had any frost, and I don't see any frost coming anytime soon, which is really, really strange. Because last year, again, we were cold by then, but it's trying its best, and I'm really hoping. Now, this guy bloomed really huge white, really nice big blooms in the spring, and it's supposed to bloom in the fall, and I'm hoping that it does. But this is what it's trying to do. The Chinese Snowball Viburnum. This one I had gotten from Home Depot in their very rare clearance. One day I went there and it just happened to have a bunch of stuff, and it was like $7 or $10, and I just picked it up because with Home Depot you got to take what you can get. They're not like Lowe's where you can get clearance plants all the time. But this thing is completely budded up, but only one of them have made it through, and I'm hoping that it gets to actually bloom fully. My Mexican Petunia is still blooming. Love this plant. Love the square stems. Love the dark purple stems and the beautiful bell-shaped flowers, which the butterflies absolutely adore. This guy here, I had bought it for $16.98 a year or 2 years ago, and I divided it, and it has been very, very happy. This is one of the ones that actually come out the ground a little bit slower, so come spring you might not see anything, but it will come back. And it's actually on the border. I think this actually is hardy to zone 8, but we haven't had bad winters since 2021, so plants have been coming back even though they're on zone 8, and they might have gotten a little bit tattered. But this Mexican Petunia is a beauty. Now these fall off they only last one day, and then I don't know if you notice right here, when that one is done, these that are right here, they will come out and bloom. So the plant is never, once it starts blooming, once it comes out the ground and it starts blooming, it never stops bloom until it goes to sleep. So that's what I love about that. So I have them like 3 different places in my yard. Guys, my double knockout roses are coming. God, I am so impressed with these plants. Disease-free, disease-resistant, blooms and blooms and blooms and blooms. And again, all budded up, blooming. Plant looks healthy. Really nice. Here's another one here. This one is completely budded up, guys. So I should be getting some really nice red in the garden in the next week or so. So that's double knockout. And this one is just a regular petite knockout. And this too is blooming. Really, really impressed. That's one of the perks of living in Georgia or living in a zone 8A, where you don't get cold too quickly or too early. And you still get to see a lot even further down into October and November, and even for some in December. Really, really nice. Look at this beauty, guys. Look at this rose. Absolutely gorgeous. It is completely budded up. Now, when I planted this, when I got this from Walmart, it was supposedly supposed to be gold medal, but I think really it's Rio Samba. Even though I have a main Rio Samba over there, this guy here, I cut it back because I was anticipating a freeze when I did cut it back way back. But the freeze is not coming, and the roses are like, okay, well, if you're not going to get cold, we're just going to bloom. And this thing is budded up. Bud here, bud there, bud, 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 bud right there. And this beautiful, really nice plant. I'm really impressed with those. I talk about it all the time. With those roses that I bought from Walmart, that one I bought from Walmart, this one here. So between the Mr. Lincoln, the Gold Glow, the Gold Medal, the Cathedral Bells, the Pink Peace, the Love and Peace, the Della Reese, the Heirloom, they all have just been doing really, really great, guys. And this specific area here is where most of my roses are, in this what I call a little rose bed right here. So that's the Cathedral Bells. It's done blooming. It's been growing really high, but I don't think it's blooming. And then some of them I have to cut back. But, oh look, no, it actually is blooming. Look at that. Look, I didn't even see this. It's gonna bloom. And then these look a little bit tattered. These definitely need to be cut back for sure. But this I know for sure is the beautiful Rio Samba. Now these flowers are kind of weary. They're pretty much done. But new buds are coming up for me to get, hopefully by the end of the weekend. This coneflower is still blooming, guys. This one here is, I think it's called something bubblegum. And if I find the tag, I will put it on the screen for you. But this is a beauty. It doesn't look like a typical coneflower, but it's a beauty. Not only is it has different levels of blooms, and then you have the new ones that are trying to come out as well. Really, really nice. This area here is mostly coneflower. And most of them actually are pretty much done, but they're trying their best. Like this one here, it's done, but it's trying its best to put something out. So I have a bunch of butterfly weeds just popping up in my yard. I had bought, just that same day, 2 years ago, I had bought those Mexican petunias and the butterfly weed at Home Depot. And I did not divide the butterfly weed, I just put it there. But then, as you know, when the seed pods burst and they blow them all over the place, you might end up finding this particular plant here all over your yard where you didn't plant it. And it's just weirdly right there between one of my mums and not a gora, and a yarrow over there. That's a yarrow. But this butterfly weed, and I'm not going to remove it because, of course, I still see butterflies in my yard. That's not as much, maybe one or two, on a good sunny day, but they're still around, and I still see bees. I don't see any more hummingbirds at all, but if you're looking for something if you're actually in a pollinator garden and you love pollinators, this is a perfect plant for you. This is the butterfly weed. It might not look the greatest, but it's still blooming. This is the beautiful Mystic Spires Salvia. This one I had gotten from Kroger, the supermarket, and I just happened to see it. I picked it up. I didn't really know if it was annual or perennial. I hope it comes back for me, but it might not. And if not, if it reseeds, then I'll just go buy another one, because this here is a bee magnet. The bees love it. Let me know if you have this plant in your yard and whether or not it's a perennial for you or an annual, and if you cut it back, because I actually never cut mine back, which is probably why it looks like that. And it probably could have looked or bloomed even more if I knew what I was supposed to do with this plant. But I was just like so happy. And not only that, is that when I try to come out and cut this thing, there's always bees on it. So I didn't want to just take away that food from them just so I can cut it, but I should have done it. But it doesn't matter. Next year I'll figure it out. Mystic Spires Salvia. Right next to that is one of the ones that is actually looking the best right now in the garden. This is the pink Beliza Gora. This is a beauty in the garden. It's a perennial for me. I have the white Beliza and I have the pink one, but the pink one is more pronounced in the yard. And I'm going to get me some more because, again, being in November and a lot of things are starting to go to sleep, Gora is like, you'd think that this is a spring and it's its first flush, but this guy here is so impressive. Also blooming, guys, are some Mahonias. You might have seen a recent video where I had bought this, and it had buds on it, but it wasn't blooming. And ever since I've had it, I haven't put it in the ground yet. It's still in the container, and this guy has started to seriously bloom. This is Mahonia Soft Caress. It is a shade plant, and it grows up to 3 feet tall, I believe. Let me see the tags. Yeah, 3 by 3.5, already from zone 7 to 9. And this is where I'm going to end up putting them. I have 3 of them, 1, 2, 3, and they're all budded up. But this particular one here, I can't wait to get this in the ground. But I think to preserve these, I'm going to probably not put it in the ground this year and wait until next year and enjoy these flowers. This is supposed to be an evergreen. It's a shade plant that blooms this time of the year up until January, guys. So I can't wait to show you this in December and January, and hopefully it will be even more impressive. Last on the list, but definitely not least, is a beautiful camellia. This is Shishigashara. This one is a pink one, and it is actually supposed to be in part sun to, well, part sun, which is 3 to 5 hours of sun. But you know, 3 to 6 hours of sun. The thing is, in Georgia, you really got to be careful because in June, July, August, and September, it is some serious heat out here. And even the part sun plants, when you put them in the part sun, it's just still too much sun. But I have this partially under a oak tree and partially getting late sun, and which is not as hot. And this is one of the newest plants to the garden anyway. And when I bought them, they had buds on them. So I haven't had it long, and I wanted to put it in the ground. So once I put it in the ground, I knew I wasn't going to move it because camellias have been very finicky for me. I've had several camellias die on me because of where I've put them, and then the watering situation. They don't like a lot of water, but you definitely want to keep them moist. But this Shishigashara is holding on and doing well. It is budded up, and these are opening right here. And then here are some more right here. And this other one, I have 2 of them. And these bloom at this time of the year into January. I'm really happy about this. This is Shishigashara camellia. It doesn't grow that tall, but it does grow wide. And look, it's an evergreen. Look at all these buds, guys. This is what I have to look forward to come December and January. I'm very, very happy about it. Now, if you have camellia and you live in the South, you know that they're a staple down here. But I wish I had gotten something bigger because, you know, you see them all over the place and they're really mature and beautiful, and they are very slow growing too. So this is not going to get any big anytime soon. But again, I am not rushing. I'm not in a race with anybody. I am really liking how this beautiful glossy green evergreen plant that blooms in the fall and the winter, how it's going to be added to my yard. Let me know what you think, guys. Let me know how things are going in your yard. Are some of the plants that I show you, are they blooming in your yard, or some different types of plants? I'm really, really happy with what is blooming now, and there's a lot of work to do because between the evergreens that's going to hold me up for the winter and all these beautiful late blooming plants, I'm very, very happy with how things have turned out here in Georgia Zone 8A. Please like, please share, please subscribe, and remember to hit that notification bell so you can be alerted on my new videos. I will see you on the next one. Bye-bye.